Hello, today I've got a new model for review, hooray! So it's the true wireless model by KZ, it's KZ-S2. You know, sometimes it seems to me that KZ is trying to brute force true wireless market because they are releasing different models at random, like trying different hypotheses. Maybe they're trying to use neural network-like approach, so just make some assumptions and validate it and reiterate. I don't have another explanation. They released a pretty good sounding model KZ-E10, but it has connectivity issues. Sometimes it was barely usable, but sound was really good, and they just discontinue it. Instead of fixing that connectivity issues and releasing new updated versions, they just discontinue it. And then they released KZ-S1 and S1D, so two different models, or actually not different from E10, of course. Two models, one is hybrid and second one is pure dynamic driver, offering good price and value. And then they decided to try yet another approach. So here is KZ-S2. They released it on the Indiegogo, so it's available for the crowdfunding, and crowdfunding price is $30, about $30. I will add links to the description. You can get them together with DHL shipping. DHL shipping will be about $15 more. Because in many countries regular mail works below average, like in mine, for example. So DHL saves the day sometimes. So pretty good investment nowadays if you're looking for something true wireless. And what is interesting here, they've decided to do a bit unusual thing. They didn't use Qualcomm's system on chip, because QCC 3020 is almost ubiquitous in the true wireless world. Almost all TWS models are built with it. But KZ decided to use the recent Realtek chipset. If I remember right, it's 8763 or something like that in terms of index, and they built this model on this chipset, so we will see how it will work. Speaking about specifications, they support SBC and AAC codecs, so almost good for almost all circumstances. No aptX here. They stated that they've decided to postpone aptX because AAC already offers decent sound quality and offers lower delays and lower power consumption. So just about that. Speaking about power consumption, they works from 3 up to 4 hours depending on the volume, and case offers additional 3 or 4 charges, and full charge in case took about 2 hours. Of course, they support all that stuff like take one earpiece and use it to make a call while second one is charging, then swap them or use them simultaneously. In terms of connectivity, this Realtek chipset do a good work. So I've did some brief tests, really well in terms of holding the connection, and really good in terms of fast reconnection when you took them out, put back. So like Realtek nailed to create a normal chipset, at least in my test. So luckily we've got a competitor for the Qualcomm, because you know usual Qualcomm strategy is to sit on the pile of patents and devastate all the concurrents. But let's have a closer look. As you can see, it's forgot to mention that it's a hybrid model with 7mm dynamic driver and custom tuned balanced armature. So KZ proved that they could tweak such schemas. So package is simple, white cardboard, just plain, typical KZ style. As you can easily guess, we will have different color versions, but of course black one is always good, unless you want the red one, because red ones goes faster. Inside of the box there is a case with earphones themselves. Let it put aside for a while. And underneath there is a manual, USB-C charging cable, and actually just another pair of tips. So you will have just two pair of tips, and both of them will be medium in size, no additional tips. Actually, on the Indiegogo there is an option for getting spare tips for $5 or so, but most probably medium size will fit many of ours. So here are the controls: manual startup, touch and hold, pair automatically, shut down, touch and hold. There is a voice assistant, single tap for pause and play, double tap for the previous and next answers, and actually reject call and start Siri. Unfortunately, there is no volume control from earphones themselves. It's really unlikely, but anyway. And also please note there is a high performance mode, so triple tap on any earpiece and voice prompt will say that this high performance mode is active, and then you will have reduced delays with video and games. Actually, even in regular performance mode, delay is pretty small, but it's noticeable. And in high performance mode, it's close to zero, at least for me. Maybe I'm not the fastest reacting person. Additional information about LED indicators. So red is less than 30%, green is up more than 70 up to, and yellow is in between. So just typical and common stuff. 4 taps for reset. So basically here it is. In terms of design, they've changed case a little bit. It became bigger, probably to accommodate a bigger battery inside. There is a USB-C for charging. As you can see, they've selected some strange orientation, like this way. Of course, it will be lying flat. Well, not the most common, but normal. And as you can see, they even put metal where it's necessary. Is it metal actually, or it's just shiny plastic? Not sure. We'll check it a bit later. Inside there are earpieces. As usual, there is a magnet and nice clicky button. So you open it, you click this button, and here is LED indicator showing you the current charge level. Just took both earpieces out, they will boot up, they will connect, and that's all. So in terms of connectivity, in terms of easiness of usage, is there is such a word, they are common. In terms of design, it reminds a bit S1, so nice glossy plastic, sensor control pads, pretty good sensitivity of this sensor controls, so nice ergonomic shape. Vast majority of users won't have any issues with feet, so maybe if only really small ears owner. Actually, fit is good, pretty secure thanks to good extended spout. Passive sound isolation is a bit above average, so it will be enough for noisy street, for example, or something like that. As you can see, tips are not that short one, but not the regular one, so medium in terms of stem, but many spin fit models will be okay with them. They KZ declared splash proof, so probably they will be okay even for the sport. Nice combination of black and gold color, so everything is traditional. Background noise is barely audible, it's present, but on really low level. So it's typical modern true wireless in-ear monitors with normal design. Everything done is maybe flawless, or I'm not sure which words should I check. So everything is done normally, so nothing stellar, but really solid, and for $30 it's even better. So really good build quality, really nice case, and all declared features are working also correctly. And the traditional microphone test. Of course, it's not in noisy environment. In noisy situations, they are not superb in noise cancelling, but in quiet environment, microphone quality is pretty decent, so you can make calls for example, in the office or when you are at home or at the street when it's not super noisy. So microphone quality is increasing nowadays. And I suppose I won't forget to add this part to my review, so you will have an idea of how do they sound during the call. And of course about the sound, as usual, M11 Pro will be my transport, my source. Not because it's like better or something like that, they of course can be used with any smartphone or with any other Bluetooth source, so almost all Bluetooth sources are equal. I just have M11 Pro always at hand, so it has my media library loaded, so it's more convenient for me to use it as a transport. In terms of the sound, of course, many can say, oh, they don't have a aptX, so it's awful, but no, it's not even close. So SBC does its job really good, and AAC even better. So with vast majority of modern smartphones, you will have AAC, so not an issue for me at least. And for $30, KZ managed to deliver a really nice sound. They, of course, didn't try to make them audiophilic. They push this fun toggle to maximum level, creating hybrid V-shaped signature with really engaging big bass, pretty clean clear mids, and accented treble. So it's like the signature that suits our tastes most of all. Of course, it's not natural, so they're not trying to do that. So bass is big, it has pretty good resolution. Of course, don't expect the performance of wired models. For example, KZ, ZSX or Terminator will offer a better resolution a bit, but for the wireless model, resolution is good, and actually bass is pretty impactful. They made noticeable accent, but not too much. They managed to get this point when bass is fun and accented, but at the same time not too leaky onto mids, not too bloated or too fatiguing, but it goes pretty deep, as much as wireless codecs allows it. So you will have this rumble, you will have this kick, so deeper layers of bass are present and pretty enjoyable. It's perfectly fitting some electronic music, the genres that require some accented low frequencies with big amounts of air pumped, but acoustic instruments like low notes on fortepiano or acoustic double bass also sounding pretty good. So of course they are lacking realism compared with wired models, but that's what we pay for true wireless. And actually, if you don't have some good player, for example, they don't sound much worse than modern smartphone output in wired mode anyway. So texturing is nice, and all that other stuff is also here. And as an example, I've got my favorite Polish jazz band. Let me try to pronounce it maybe not correctly, or at least closer to the correct pronunciation. So it's Niechich, or something like that, because it's not Niechich, definitely, it's not Ch, it's Niechich, and the nasal E is absolutely not pronounceable if you don't have this language as your first one. So I can pronounce nasal O if I practice for a little bit, but not E definitely. Anyway, if you like avant-garde jazz, if you like experiments in sound, I definitely recommend this group to you. They are available on Bandcamp, 2 albums and 1 live album if I remember right. So just go and buy it, support musicians. Nowadays musicians also need support, especially like not that big stars of first category, but some good bands that are not so famous. Okay, so enough propaganda. So Riza or Raja. I once again have no idea how the name of the track is pronounced. Maybe someone will correct me, but it starts with nice synthesized drum, or not drum, but actually nice synthesized bass kicks, and this in-ear monitor sounding pretty good and engaging. And actually the rest of the track, it's filled with different instruments and it's sounding really nicely. Not of course as wired model, but pretty enjoyable and listenable. You know, I'm okay with sacrificing a bit of sound quality for the wireless freedom. And also, maybe it could be important for someone, they are pretty loud. I'm not listening at maximum volume, but out of curiosity I've tried to raise volume to maximum level to 120, and they are pretty loud. Well, maybe at least at my scale, because it's much louder than my comfortable level. And at that level, of course, bass starting sounding like some small subwoofer, pretty enjoyable. A bit bigger depths would be of course a plus, but for the true wireless models they deliver nice performance. Mids are recessed compared with bass and treble, but thanks to the balanced armature nature they have normal resolution, so they won't sounding veiled or too moved to background like it happens with many V-shaped in-ear monitors. You know, KZ found the perfect tuning, probably they found the frequency response giving good results, because I remember their experiments, like first models were too bassy and too warm, then they've released a few models that were too bright, and then they found the perfect balance. So mids have normal resolution, like normal average in terms of average compared to wired models, but above average comparing with true wireless models, and taking price into account it's probably even better. And they are balancing between the micro contrast and macro detailization, so not trying to highlight anything, but a bit leaning toward the macro things. So they are pretty good in representing emotions. Maybe on the fastest track sometimes bass will be a bit shadowing mids, especially if it's like, you know, track with big bass and fast mids. But it's really rare examples. Imaginary stage is about average in width and in depth, and I think it's a good for such model. Pretty emotional and pretty engaging sounding with normal weight distribution, you know, like doing everything in a good way, like nothing stellar, but pretty honest and pretty nice, pretty delivering. And as an example for the mid frequencies, I've got really complex track actually, you know, and not any true wireless models managed to represent it properly. It's pain of salvation, reasons, really sometimes really fast and aggressive, sometimes more lyrical with good vocal, with good, really good duet. Actually, I think that this album, In the Passing Light of Day, I promoted a few times, but I still think that it's one of the best albums of this decade, so I really recommend it to you. So, of course, for such music required some wired model for about $200 or more, but these in-ear monitors are pretty listenable and pretty enjoyable. Of course, if you're not like true audiophile. But of course, if you're a true audiophile, you won't touch the true wireless models even with 10-feet stick. And treble. Treble is accented, so keep it in mind. If you're treble sensitive, probably it could be problematic for you. I'm not treble sensitive, so for me it's like, you know, okay, treble is accented, but on the acceptable level. So they are maybe more or less close to my comfort limit, but not crossing it. So they staying below this limit, but for sensitive people, of course, it could be too much. At the same time, it has more or less normal resolution thanks to the properly tuned balanced armature. Extension is about average, common for the true wireless models, and It's, it's normal balanced armature treble. Clean, pretty fast attacks and decays, a bit lacking weight on the treble, of course almost zero layering and overtone saturation and all other audiophile stuff, but it's common for the true wireless model, so don't expect that. But at least it's clean, crisp, with nice amount of details, and so all cymbals, percussions and other stuff like that will be delivered in pretty enjoyable way. And of course treble here is managed to balance low frequencies in creating that pleasant V-shaped signature that many likes. And as an example, for the treble, I've got this track. It's Lua D'Inverno. Actually, probably my most favorite album in the history of metal. If you like it too, hit the thumbs up button, or don't do it. I'm not that kind of reviewer who asks, "Oh, please hit subscribe, press thumbs up, do something, buy my t-shirt." I don't have a t-shirt. Anyway, I got t-shirts that I'm wearing, but I don't have merchandise. So, if by some wonder you like metal and haven't heard Moonspell Wolf Heart album, I'm really jealous for you, because it was like a world-changing event for me, like 20 years ago, or even a bit more, when I heard it for the first time, and it's a still solid masterpiece. And it's unbelievable that band whose members were like just above 20 years old created such great work. Anyway, Lua D'Inverno, or D'Inverno, no, so not sure how to pronounce it too. Probably I should avoid non-Slavic bands. It's like intermission acoustic guitar and flute, and sounding really nice, crisp, clean, and of course pretty high pitched. So this in-ear monitors really suits such a tune, representing it in a nice way. So to summarize once again, fun sounding V-shaped signature with accented mighty lows and accented treble to balance it, but thanks to resolution mids also pretty present. Of course, don't expect like wired performance, but for the true wireless they are really good. Speaking about the comparisons, there are a lot of other models, but actually what we've got in this price range, like probably TRN T200, this one is a bit more V-shaped and a bit less bright, but also pretty bright, just a bit less. Actually, comparing with S1, this one is a bit more detailed and a bit better actually in terms of connectivity and in terms of robustness, so it's like a step forward. Well, I won't try to recall other models, there are a lot of them, sometimes they are somewhere on the same level, but anyway, KZ managed to deliver a pretty good sounding model, really performing really solid for this price. So thank you for listening, not sure what I will be filming next time, but stay with me, so we'll see in few days what I've got for reviews. Have a nice day, stay safe, and thank you for listening.